Sink into the moment. We're here for a nervous system reset workshop. I wanted to just first actually ask if anybody was at my nervous system reset workshop that I did last May. I'm really curious. I'm actually going to pop in the chat and look and see if anyone was there. So Joanne says she was. Okay, Caroline, nope. Good. So if you were there, if anyone was there, I see another yes. Helena, we have some no's. Good. I was hoping for a mixed audience. I'm really happy that some of you were at that nervous system reset workshop that I did last May, and some of you are new. Because even if you were there, even if you were at that workshop that I did in May, you hopefully will get a lot out of watching this information again. Some of it's going to be the same, but some of it is going to be a little bit different simply because I've gained personally so much experience using these tools, using this reset that we're about to do. I've personally gained so much experience, and I've also been using it regularly in my Mind Body Pelvic Health Academy. And so I feel a lot more comfortable with the information this time. So I'm really happy that you all are here. The other thing that's a little bit different is that I have become even more fascinated with the concept of neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is something I just find so hopeful. This word, neuroplasticity, like a plastic brain, means that our brain can change. The concept that our brain, which is part of the nervous system, it can change throughout our entire life. And I think this is so hopeful because previously people thought, science thought, that when we stopped growing around 18, 19, 20, when we became young adults, basically the brain was set. But that's absolutely not true. It's been shown to be not true. Just like we can maintain and build our muscle mass throughout life, we may need to work a little harder at it as we get older, but we can maintain and grow muscles as we get older. So too, we can maintain and grow and build and create new neural connections, new neural pathways. And this is new mind-body connections too. So we can do that our entire life. And to me, this is so hopeful for not only like learning new things and learning new tools throughout our life, but it also means that we can learn tools like this. We can learn how to reset our nervous system when we need to. And we can ultimately retrain that mind-body connection so that we can feel better. So there is hope and there is help. And you've probably heard me say that again and again if you've followed me for any amount of time on social media or on YouTube. There is hope and there is help, not just for our bodies, but for our minds, because our bodies and minds are connected. So we're going to get all into this, all into the nervous system, all into the mind-body connection throughout this workshop. And the whole time, we're going to be applying this to pelvic health and lensing it through pelvic health, because probably if you're here, you know me because you have some kind of pelvic health challenge, or maybe you work with people. Maybe you're a pelvic health provider. So my goal for this workshop is to make it simple and really relevant to you and to your needs and to pelvic health. And I want to make it participatory and fun. And so in order to kind of do this, I think it's important to orient you to what the plan is. And the plan is that I'm going to take you through this workshop. And then at the end, I'm going to share something exciting about my Mind Body Pelvic Health Academy. And I will also take some questions if there's time. So if you can just close all of your tabs right now, if you are in a place where your computer has a million tabs open, or maybe you have your phone in front of you and you're doing 10,000 different things. I understand, I've been there, but I really think that you will do yourself such an honor and give yourself such a gift just by being present for this training. Since you signed up to be here, it's such a gift to yourself just to give yourself that gift of presence and time right now. Roll out your shoulders if you need to. You're always welcome to move and shake things out so you can keep your attention. And I want to share just really briefly, who I am. I'm Brianne Grogan. I am a doctor of physical therapy and I focus on pelvic health. And my true goal and mission in life is to help people with pelvic health challenges live their best life. Their best life, mind, body, spirit, all of it. And I really love to bridge the mind, the body, so our mental mindset, our physical body, lifestyle, how we live our lives, energetics, a little bit of the spirituality. I also love to talk about pleasure, and I love to bridge all of that with pelvic health and pelvic wellness that's going to really impact your entire life, not just fix a pelvic floor problem, but actually help you live your juiciest, best life ever, forever. So I have some different offerings that you may know me from. I have at this time, at this recording, I have 770 free videos on YouTube, 770. I also have some online programs. One is called Overcome Pelvic Pain for Women, and that is an excellent foundational program that teaches you how to deal with pelvic pain, excessive pelvic tension, painful sex. It's also really great for people who have urinary urgency and frequency. They feel like they always have to go to the bathroom. They always have to go pee. So that's a great program. Overcome Pelvic Pain is great for that. I have another program called Lift, and that is a fantastic program for gradual total core strengthening. It's great for prolapse relief. It's also great for anyone with bladder leakage. It can be really helpful for that. Another really cool reason somebody might use Lift is if they are preparing to get pregnant, or maybe they're preparing for pelvic surgery or abdominal surgery, because you can use the program to help you prepare and you can use it to help you recover from pregnancy, so postpartum period, and also recover from surgery. So those are my foundational programs as Overcome and Lift. And then I also have this new program that I'm really stoked about. It's called the Mind Body Pelvic Health Academy, and it's an amazing next step program that really is about the mental and emotional work of pelvic health. So that is me. That's who I am, and ways we could work together if you think this is totally up your alley. So let's talk about this workshop today, which is a new way to look at pelvic health and also our nervous system reset. So pelvic rehab, if you have a pelvic floor issue and you have gone to a physical therapist, or you've tried to get help on your own for your pelvic floor, pelvic rehab is not just about learning a specific set of exercises or getting some manual therapy done on your pelvic muscles. Those things are wonderful, exercises, manual therapy, those things are great, but they really focus on your physical body, the structural, mechanical aspects of your concern that you're dealing with. But there's more. There's so much more. And so the new way to look at pelvic health, and the way that so many amazing pelvic floor physical therapists and occupational therapists and providers out there are starting to look at this, is that you have to look at the whole picture. And I like to think of it is that our symptoms, our pelvic symptoms, are like little love letters from our body. They're like little love notes saying, honey, something's wrong. Something's wrong. We need to look at the big picture. We need to look at what else is going on that's contributing to the physical, mechanical, structural, muscular things that are going on. So symptoms are like little love letters from your body. And your pelvic symptoms truly tell a story of the big picture. They tell the story of what's going on in your life and in your emotional life, along with what's happening in your physical body. So all of this to say, this whole day today, I want to make it really clear that I'm never saying that our pelvic floor symptoms are just in our head, or that they're, just emotional. No. The emotional can become physical and the physical can become emotional. It's all connected. So in some cases, perhaps you started out, your pelvic floor issue started because of a birth-related injury. Maybe you had a tear during childbirth, something like that. So that's a physical structural thing. But then what happens is a lot of times these things can persist. We can have, maybe it doesn't heal well. And so then there's trauma that goes along with that, emotional, of course, pain and discomfort, but then the fears that go along with that. Will I ever be normal again? Will I ever be able to have sex again? Emotional things like that, that then lead to more physical pain and tension, which leads to more emotional impact, which leads to more physical. So the physical can become emotional. And in some cases, there wasn't necessarily like an injury or a specific isolated event that caused the issue. In some people, a buildup of stress over time, which we're going to talk about today, causes physical issues, causes physical tension to build up, which can cause various pelvic floor issues. So the emotional can become physical and the physical can become emotional. It's all connected. So important to understand that when you're looking at pelvic health. And another really important new way to look at pelvic health is that change needs to happen from within you, from within the client. It's not about somebody fixing you from the outside, partially because you're not broken. I mean, you are not broken. Somebody from the outside doesn't have the power to fix you. It's really a combined effort of receiving assistance from somebody and doing the work within yourself to understand some of these connections we're going to talk about today. So that leads me to the next thing I want to briefly talk about, which is the word embodiment. And embodiment is a word that many people have heard a lot lately. And embodiment is something that you probably, hopefully, have been using and practicing your whole life, even though it's kind of a buzzword right now. Embodiment is something I've been using in my work this whole time. But I'm becoming more and more intentional about embodiment, which is basically the concept and idea that you're not just learning in your head or thinking about or talking about your issue, your pelvic floor issue or your health issue. And you're not just kind of like going through the motions of an exercise that somebody else told you to do. So you're not just like, oh, I'm just doing my Kegels because they told me to, and you're not even feeling or connecting with your body. You're just kind of in your head thinking about your to-do list for the day. That is not embodiment. Embodiment is really about dropping out of your head and into your body, getting out of your head and connecting in with your body. So babies, I always bring up this example, but babies are totally embodied. They are in their body. They are fascinated with their hands. They know when they're hungry and they will tell you, and they'll let everyone know. Like they follow their impulses, they live their impulses. But we as a society have gotten really disembodied, partially because, there's so much going on. We have so much to think about, and logic and the mind has really been praised, and it's really been made king or queen over time. Our body has been neglected. And sometimes people think they can't trust their body. And especially if we've had pain or dysfunction or problems with our health and our pelvic health, we may extra super duper feel disconnected or like we don't even want to think about or be in our body. It's scary, And so the whole point of healing, though, the issue is in your body. And so the healing must happen in your body, right? Not just in our mind, not just in our head. So embodiment is really, really important. You need embodiment for pelvic healing, but embodiment requires trust. It requires slowing down. It requires dropping in with yourself, connecting inward, and it requires safety. So your nervous system, we're finally getting to the nervous system. Your nervous system needs to feel safe and calm so that it can relax enough to drop into the moment, so that it can relax enough to be present, so that it can relax enough to allow your muscles to work optimally. And that's what today's class is all about, is our nervous system and that mind-body connection. So how's everyone doing? I'm just going to check in a little bit. Are we doing good? I hope everybody's doing good. Yeah? Yeah, I see some thumbs up. Okay, amazing. So what is the nervous system? And I'm going to keep this very simple. I go much more into the nervous system in the Mind Body Pelvic Health Academy for anyone's interested. But basically, our nervous system includes our brain, our spinal cord, and our nerves. So I think it's really interesting that the nervous system is not just a concept, because we talk a lot and you hear a lot. You'll see tons of memes and like graphics on Instagram that are about the nervous system, about nervous system regulation and soothing your nervous system and tips for your nervous system, etc. And I think those are wonderful. Even today's workshop, it's wonderful. It's about the nervous system, but it more puts the nervous system as like a concept. But it's not just a concept. It's an actual physical part of our body, just as real and touchable as our arm, It's very, very much a physical part of our body, and we need to take care of our nervous system, just like we take care of our teeth by brushing our teeth and take care of our muscles by exercising. So the nervous system is, I like to think of it as our body's command center. It's often described that way, as our body's command center. And I really, really love thinking about it as like a control center, or like the Central Intelligence Agency, the way I imagine the CIA to be, which is totally wrong. I know it's not actually like this, but I picture this big command center. And I picture this bodyguard that is communicating with the command center, this really strong bodyguard. Picture this strong person with the dark glasses, and they've got the phone, and they're in touch with the command center. And this bodyguard, which is our body, this bodyguard is there to protect national security. Its job is to protect. So the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, the nervous system, works with the bodyguard, the body. They are very connected. There's two-way communication, the command center to the bodyguard to the command center. There's two-way communication to do one thing, and that is to protect the country, if we're talking about national security and the CIA. But of course, we're not talking about that. We're talking about your body. So its job is to protect. The nervous system is a servant of protection. It is always scanning for threats. And so the nervous system is really like an interpreter. It interprets everything that's coming in to the nervous system. It's also a responder and a protector by way of that bodyguard, the body. So the nervous system helps your muscles move. It helps your organs operate and work. It helps your body processes happen. And it helps you sense things. So again, that two bidirectional communication, body to brain and brain to body. And it also, one really important feature is that all of this happens really quick and automatically under our conscious awareness. We're not aware that this communication is always happening. We're not aware that our bodyguard is, always ready to protect us. We're not really aware of that. It's just happening under the surface. And these unconscious protection responses, basically our bodyguard going to work, can manifest as two main categories. And again, this is a big conversation, but to keep it simple, we have a mobilization response, which is more of that sympathetic, amped up fight or flight response. We also have a response for protection that's more of a freeze mode, deer in the headlights, more of a checked out or numbed out, or a disassociated state where we just kind of disconnect, okay? Sometimes this is also described as a collapse. These are actual protection responses that our body can go into. And some of us get into these responses for long periods. And we may feel doomed to always feeling anxious or always feeling checked out or always feeling disconnected. But we learned we really know two things. We know two things, which is that the mind and body are connected. And the other thing, as I talked about earlier with that neuroplasticity, the other thing we know is that our brains can change. And so if that's true, if the mind and body are connected, and if our brains can change, then that means our body can change too. And so we can change these responses when we work with them. It doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't matter what health issues we're dealing with. We can change. We can work with these things. We can work with our bodyguard, and we can say, bodyguard, you can take a break. You don't need to be hopped up on coffee all day. You don't have to be running all day. We can work together. to let you know when you're safe to take a break. So the key here is nervous system regulation, which is really all about flexibility. We need flexibility in our muscles. We know that. We need to do our stretches and that kind of thing so our muscles stay flexible and responsive and mobile. And we need flexibility in our nervous system as well. So the word nervous system regulation, one definition of this is really the ability of our nervous system to quickly and easily move between states of arousal. So to be able to move from protection mode, amped up, to calm and relaxed. That is a well-regulated nervous system. We're dysregulated when we're always amped up or we're always in collapse, freeze, shutdown mode. So I've done some polls. 92% of folks in the last poll that I did, the last time I did this workshop, said they had trouble shifting from stressed out intense to calm and relaxed. And this is really, really common. I mean, it's really challenging to make that shift sometimes. One reason is because when we are stressed, our body tenses up. And specifically related to our pelvic floor is one of the first responder muscles. It's a first responder. It's first on the scene, along with some of the other core muscles of our body, our jaw, our shoulder area, our abdominals, our pelvic floor, and some of the hip muscles. They are first responder muscles. They are there. They are tightening up, usually. So they are usually in people I tend to work with tend to have pelvic floor tension, too much tension. So they're hyper aroused, mobilized, and their pelvic floor feels it. And thank goodness for protection. I want to make it really clear that we want that. I don't want anyone to think that I'm making the nervous system wrong or this protection response wrong. Thank goodness for protection mode. But if the protection response becomes chronic, and again, this often happens when we have pelvic floor issues, because maybe we're worried that we're always going to pee our pants, right? We're worried that, oh my gosh, I leaked. Last time I went on this walk, I leaked. And now I'm out walking with my friends. I don't want to leak again. And so I'm scared. And so my muscles are going to be constantly tight. Even, like that would freak anybody out. But if you already have a pelvic floor issue, there's already some dysfunction there. It's going to, be challenging. Everything's going to often for many people be very, very tight. And tight does not mean strong. That's one thing I want to be really clear about as well, is tight does not equal strong. When our nervous system becomes highly sensitive, extremely sensitive to everything, our muscles don't work as well. If we have that consistent contraction happening, that can create pelvic floor issues in and of itself. Contraction in the physical body and contraction and congestion in our energy body, it does not mean strong. It just means that our bodyguard, back to that CIA analogy, our bodyguard is exhausted. The bodyguard is exhausted from staying up all night, from constantly being ready to run, constantly being ready to fight, being ready to protect you. So specifically in relation to pelvic health, again, some of these protection responses can be caused by things like I just mentioned, that example of bladder leakage, and maybe you're going for a walk with friends, but other examples could be things like fear of moving wrong, fear of picking up something wrong and making your prolapse feel worse, maybe fear of your pelvic health issue getting worse, fear that things aren't getting better, fear of surgery needing to happen in the future. Maybe you don't want surgery, or fear that you want the surgery, but you're super low on the waiting list and you have to wait forever, or just fear that it's not going to go well, uncertainty. Maybe fear about relationship implications. What does this mean for my relationship with my partner? What does this painful sex mean about me having a baby one day, or me, maintaining my marriage or my relationship? Fear is we Google things, and Google shows us all sorts of scary things. Anxiety from this never-ending list of things that people have told you to do to help your pelvic floor. Anxiety because Dr. Bree told you to do this, and that other person on Instagram told you to do that, and then you bought this thing over here to do this, and you're trying to do it all. It's a lot. Coupling that with bills and world politics and events and, general overwhelm of media and society and life. It's a lot. And so I want to take a break from talking for a moment. And so I have a little poll that I'm going to see if I can put up. I really love doing these polls just because I want you to be able to see where, just where you are. I'm going to launch this poll. There's 3 questions on here, and you should see them. I'm hoping you can see them. The first question is, when you're anxious or stressed, do you notice an increase in pelvic floor symptoms? So, yeah, okay, it must be working because I see some answers coming on the screen. Then the next question is, how often do you feel fear, stress, or overwhelm? And then the third question is it easy for you to shift from anxious and stressed feelings into a state of relaxation and calm? So I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to take a drink and I'm going to give 30 more seconds for folks to pop in their answers. And if you're sitting, just shimmy it out, shake it out. We're almost to the participatory nervous system reset part, I promise. But I hope you're making some connections here. Okay, so let's see what we have. So when you're anxious or stressed, do you notice an increase in pelvic floor symptoms? I see that 90% of you say yes. Okay, and that's really consistent with what I've seen. This is like my own little research project, by the way. How often do you feel fear, stress, or overwhelm? 5% say 100% of the time. And whenever I see this, 0% says never. And I just want to take a moment for everyone just to take a deep breath and kind of look around and feel around this general room and be like, hey, friends, like I see you. We've got a lot going on, right? We've got a lot going on. And so just take a moment to give yourself some compassion, to give the world some compassion. Like 51% says much of my day, I feel this fear, stress, and or overwhelm. 44% says some of my day. And then the third question, is it easy for you to shift from anxious, stressed feelings into a state of relaxation and calm? 16% said yes, it's usually pretty easy for me. And 84% said no, it's not usually easy for me. So yeah, these are really consistent with what I've seen before. And I really appreciate you all taking the chance to answer. I'm taking a screenshot of this because like I said, I'm literally doing my own little research study. Okay, so basically, it sounds like a lot of you have noticed these connections in your own life. I'm telling you nothing you didn't already know. Hopefully, I'm just reinforcing why and that you're not crazy and that, there will be ups and downs with our pelvic symptoms and with the way our body feels in relation to how we're feeling emotionally, mentally, energetically, etc. So, put very, very simply, stress contributes to muscular tension, and this translates to symptoms. Now, in some people, that stress or fear, anxiety, arousal can contribute to like a shutdown, which may present as hypotonic muscles. So instead of hypertonic and tension, it could be hypotonic laxity. But I find that, again, most of the people I work with, tension is a result, even if you feel kind of numbed out or disassociated from everything, disconnected, most people have a lot of tension, especially in the pelvic floor. So this constant clenching, constant tension due to your nervous system being on high alert tends to lead to more symptoms. So more symptoms or sensations of prolapse, more sensational, meaning highly sensitive feelings of that bulge in the vaginal area if you have prolapse, more low back pain, more hip pain, more feelings of heaviness and fullness in the vaginal area, maybe more urinary urgency or frequency, like you've always got to go. And again, I want to just say one more time, I'm not saying that this is all in your head. I'm not saying that you have done something wrong. You have done nothing wrong. Your body's just trying to protect you. But the good thing is that, again, the body can change because the mind can change. We can work with this. We can work with it. So your pelvic floor issues are very real. Your stressors, your fears are very real. But if we want our pelvic floor to work well, we have to be able to reset when things are kind of spinning out of control. And I thought of this when I went for a walk earlier today. I saw this little dog. It was the cutest little dog. It was like a little friend. I think it was like a French bulldog, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but it was adorable. And it was spinning out of control. It was barking, 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 pulling, pulling, pulling on the leash. I think it saw a squirrel or something like that. And in that case, like it reminded me of this high alert guard dog or guard bodyguard, guard dog in this case, wanting to like go after the squirrel or protect its owner or whatever it was thinking. But definitely it was on high alert. And we don't want to make the dog wrong. The dog isn't doing anything wrong. The dog is just doing its natural thing. Protection mode, go mode, hyper arousal. But at the same time, we don't just necessarily, the owner doesn't necessarily just want to keep allowing the dog to do that forever, right? The owner wasn't making the dog wrong. The owner simply redirected the dog's attention. The owner was resetting the dog when it kind of gently tugged on the leash and said something to the dog. It wasn't making the dog wrong. It was just giving the dog a little redirect, a little reset. And that's what we need to learn how to do. And that's going to allow you to be able to make, over time with practice, it's going to allow you to shift between those states of arousal more easily. So again, this health and flexibility of our nervous system is absolutely essential when it comes to our pelvic health. We want our nervous system to protect us when we need it to protect us, and we want it to be able to relax at other times. So we want it to be able to reset when we realize that our bodyguard or the guard dog or whatever you want to think of it as is all amped up. So we're not trying to eliminate the fear. We're not trying to make any of this wrong. We're not trying to numb out or ignore things or just gloss over things and be like, everything's fine. That's not at all it. We're just learning how to more quickly and easily move between protection states and relaxation states. And I have a quote that I really love. I just read this the other day. It's from Deb Dana, and it says, regulation is a lifelong journey of managing our internal state. So it's not like a one and done thing, like do this nervous system reset one time and you're going to be cured and your pelvic floor is going to be perfectly happy and your body is going to be perfectly healthy for the rest of your life. No, it's a lifelong journey, and it's also not an instant fix, because it can take up to two to 3 hours to move from a sympathetic, aroused, like mobilized state to a more relaxed, parasympathetic, vacation mode state, right? We've probably all experienced that. You get to your vacation location, destination, and usually it takes a while to kind of calm down, or you get off work and it takes a minute to shift between work mode and like home relaxed for the evening mode. So we're really quick to go into mobilization mode, to amped up mode, but it's much slower to relax into that rest and digest mode. So this reset is really just giving us a boost in the right direction. It's not necessarily going to instantly fix anything, but it gives us a boost in the right direction. It's like a pattern interrupt. So just think of it as a pattern interrupt, and also remember that practice makes perfect. Because again, mind and body are connected. We know that. And the mind can change. Therefore, the body can change. Just keep that in mind. It's so, so powerful. Like, let that sink in. The mind can change. Therefore, the body can change. Oh my gosh. I mean, it just gives me chills. I think it's amazing. So let's do it. So we're going to do this little reset right now. And this is the first one I want to show you is if you only have 1 minute. This is the quickest thing ever. Now you do have to be in a place where you can actually utilize it, and it's going dark. This concept of going dark, kind of going into a cave. So this really is helpful because it blocks sensory input. And when we're already feeling overwhelmed, whether that's putting us into a state of hyper arousal, mobilization, or a state of hypo arousal and kind of like shut down, blocking out sensory input is very, very helpful. And I love this in particular because, as some of you know, I have a love relationship with the dark. I spent 5 days in the dark at a darkness retreat over the new year. And so going into the cave really means a lot to me, but it's really powerful to block out sensory input in this way. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your, if you can, if you're not driving, if you're in a safe space, you're going to first actually look around your space and remind yourself that you are safe, that you are in a safe space. This is so important. Cues of safety are the cure, is a quote from Stephen Porges, founder of the polyvagal theory. Incredible information. He says, cues of safety are the cure. So just remind you, just look around your room, orient yourself to your space. Say, I'm good, I'm here, I'm safe. Deep breath. Maybe put your elbows on a table if you have one nearby. You put your heels of your hand on your cheekbones or your jaw area, and you just gently cover your eyes so that they're lightly and loosely covering your eyes. Go ahead and do it. I will not keep my eyes covered because I'm talking, but you're simply just covering your eyes and allowing your fingers to be loose over your eyelashes so they're not clamping down on your eyelashes. Just a gentle cupping of your eyes. And again, this darkness, after you've assured yourself that you are safe, it helps block out sensory input. It helps when you're feeling overwhelmed. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps calm us down. And it also tends to relax the muscles around your eyes. We have tons of little muscles around our eyes. And I have personally found a connection between the muscles around my eyes. There's these circular muscles that go around our eyes and the muscles around my mouth. I've noticed when my eye muscles relax, my whole face relaxes, including my mouth. So I'm so curious to know if you, while you're doing this right now and just breathing and keeping the eyes gently covered so it's dark, just breathing and letting your head be heavy in your hands. You might feel that your cheeks relax, your mouth relaxes. And when your mouth relaxes, interestingly, your anus will potentially relax too. I know that sounds really weird, but the mouth and the anus are two ends of your digestive tract. There's circular muscles around your mouth and there's circular muscles around your anus. And we know that the jaw and pelvic area are very connected. A lot of people have tension in their jaws and their pelvic floor. When we relax our jaw, make low and slow sounds, the jaw and throat area, it relaxes our pelvic floor. So this in itself can relax your whole face and can ultimately relax your pelvic floor too. So there you go. That's it. That's all you have to do is just go dark. That's it. It takes about a minute. And that's a fun one to do if you're in a space and time where you can cover your eyes. So our next reset is the process that I have been using again and again and again with myself. It can take 4 minutes. It can take 30 seconds if you get really good at it and go through it quickly. But the main idea is there's 4 steps to it. So if you're ready for this next one right now, go ahead and shake it out. Take a minute to actually just feel in your body before we get to this. Just take a minute to take a beat and breathe. And ask yourself how it felt. Just ask yourself in your own mind how it felt to go dark. Did that feel good? It probably felt weird because we're on a Zoom call and things are always weird on Zoom when it's not like your natural setting and it's kind of a forced situation. But maybe it felt kind of good. So just take a minute to feel into your body. And if you're a little amped up, if you're a little anxious right now, feel that too. Maybe you're like, when is this girl going to stop talking? When is this woman going to stop talking? I'm done. If you're amped up, that's okay too. Notice it. Just notice how you're feeling right now. All right, let's get to the 4-step, 4-minute reset. So like I said, I've been using this a lot in my personal life lately. I also use it in my academy. I also use this basic format and flow in the Soma healing flows, which is a movement practice that I do with my clients in the academy, the clients who've chosen to join the collective, which is a bonus membership. We do these monthly Soma healing flows, and basically we're following this system. So there's 4 steps, and I'm going to go over them quickly, and then I'll go over them slowly, and we'll do them. So the 4 steps very quickly is we're going to drop in. Step 2 is we're going to clear the channel. Step 3 is we are going to move the energy. Step 4 is we're going to refill and reset. Okay, so drop in, clear the channel, move the energy, refill. Now, I'm going to go through those slowly because obviously you're like, what does that mean? So, first of all, drop in. So, this is embodiment right here. This is embodiment 101. This is when we're like, oh my gosh, we've recognized that we are spinning out, we're feeling super anxious, we're super stressed about something, we're super triggered by something someone said, or something somebody didn't say or didn't do, or by the fact that our pelvic floor symptoms are starting to act up again. And we're like, what the heck? What the heck? You know, whatever it may be, we're activated. And so we recognize that. And rather than just allowing it to happen, we're noticing and we're saying, okay, how can we reset? We're not making our bodies wrong. We're not making this moment in time wrong. We're just going to simply reset so we can redirect. So drop in. You can begin by dropping your shoulders. And I hope you'll join me right now if you can. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. And you can also drop in this can look a million different ways, by the way, but I like to always drop my shoulders down away from my ears and drop into kind of where I am, almost orienting ourselves to the room again. Like, okay, I'm in my room, I'm safe, my feet are on the ground, or my sitting bones, I can feel them in my chair. They feel heavy in my chair. I can feel my butt in my chair. However you want to do it, you're dropping into your body. And if you can, maybe you can soften your forehead and face muscles. Another thing you might want to do to help drop into your body is actually to touch your body. You can do this really cool move called sternal tack and stretch, where you hold on to your sternum, the area right here on your chest, your breastbone, and you just gently pull down on the tissues over your breastbone. And then you look your head up and down. And just gently move the head up and down while you're gently pulling down on your breastbone area. So what this does is it really allows the muscles of the neck to stretch and move and mobilize, which is very, very good for the vagus nerve. We are not going to get into vagus nerve today. I mean, we've been talking about it this whole time secretly, but we're not going to get into like details about it other than to say that the vagus nerve is very important for our stress response and for calming, for learning how to calm and get into that rest and digest parasympathetic state. And the vagus nerve goes in between our neck muscles. So we want those neck muscles to be really mobile to keep our vagus nerve healthy. So it feels so good to drop into our body with the breath. And interestingly, 80% of the vagus nerve, the fibers of the vagus nerve are sensory fibers that carry information from the body to the brain, from the body to the brain, which is such a like green light for embodiment tools, for somatic movement, body-based tools. We can use our body because 80% of the vagal fibers are sending information from the body to the brain. So we can use that to our advantage, do movements that help stimulate from our body to send signals of calm to our brain. We can breathe to send signals of calm to our brain. Okay? So that's dropping in. The next step is to clear the channel. So this is where you're literally going to take a couple deep breaths right now. That's all. So take 3 or 4 deep breaths where you inhale nice and big into your ribs, your lungs, into your back body. And then as you exhale, I really like to make it with a sound like an ah, like AH sound, or like a sh, SH sound. You don't have to, but I think it's really nice to breathe in nice and big, And then to breathe out with a nice sigh or a shh. I also like to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. And I like to extend the exhalation. That's a very calming message, again, that you can use with your body, things you're doing with your body to send signals of calm to your brain. So extend the exhalation. And this is clearing the channel. I like to think of literally a pipe or like a channel in my body from my root to my crown. It's like I'm clearing it out. So go ahead and finish that up. And as you can see, each step we dropped in, you could take as long or as little time as you want. We cleared the channel. It's just a couple of breaths. It's not long. And now we're going to move the energy. So we cleared out the channel. Now let's move the energy. This is where you could do so many different things. You could shake things out. You could shimmy. You could, go for a walk. You could do some jumping jacks. You could, whatever you want to do. But today we're just going to tap. So I want you to tap on your body all over. There are no rules. And for anybody who's familiar with EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping, as it's sometimes called, you could do that, but this is different. I'm really literally just tapping on my body and I'm breathing. And this is where if I'm feeling an emotion that feels like it's ready to move through, some kind of anger or anxiety or tension that's ready to be released, I will move my body. I'll shake it out. I'll tap it out. I'll breathe it out. And it's like I feel as if I'm literally moving the energy through, transforming it. Not because that emotion is bad or wrong, but because I don't really want it stuck in my body. So I'm moving it through. So keep tapping wherever you want to tap. Or if you want to shake or shimmy, you're welcome to do that too. Okay. Whew, feels kind of good. Step 4 is now that we've moved that energy through, we are going to refill and reset. This is the pinnacle of our reset experience, is we're going to refill with something really positive. It's like we dropped into our bodies, we cleared that channel, we moved the energy through. Now let's refill with something really great. So what I want you to do right now is you can do this symbolically, like in your head, or you can physically do this. You are going to step forward into something that you feel you want to move toward. So whether that's a positive thought, a thought of gratitude, something that went really well today, something you're proud of yourself for, something that's positive in your life right now, or some kind of vision of like, oh, yes, I know that I am moving toward this vision of a healthy, pain-free body. And you can literally feel as if you are stepping into that and feel like you're filling every cell with that feeling. And it can be so powerful to do something physical to truly like seal it into you. So to do this, just land your attention on something in the room. Land your attention so you can be like, yes, here I am right here, right now, in this now moment. I am in this room. My butt is in my chair. I have moved that energy. And now I'm going to move forward and step into that thing of positivity and power. And you can think of it, bring it to your mind, but mostly bring it to your body. Bring it to your body. Feel it. So do what you can to feel the energy of that gratitude, to feel the energy of what it feels like to have. I have water. I feel so nourished to have this liquid water that fills my cells with energy and vitality and hydration. It's kind of a silly example, but feel it like, oh, I'm so thankful for this water. You're simply shifting your attention to something very positive and powerful. So go ahead and do that right now as I take a drink. So again, if you can physically step forward in your room like this, literally taking a step forward into that positive, powerful energy and good feeling, that can be helpful too. Or you can hug yourself and breathe it in. And that's it. So those are the 4 steps of our nervous system reset, and you can make it as subtle as you want. You could do this standing in line at the grocery store. I promise I've done it. Okay. Or you can draw this out and take it through an entire like Soma healing flow class, as I do with my Mind Body Pelvic Health Academy. So, I mean, this can be quick, but the 4 steps are drop in, clear the channel, move the energy, and then refill and reset. Okay. And that's it. So I'm really curious to know, how this feels. I hope it feels good. Just take a minute to notice in your body if anything has changed. And at the very least, notice if you're curious, because this is, as I said earlier, this is Zoom. This is a very artificial situation where, it's not necessarily real life to be on a call right now and kind of doing it like this. But just notice if you're curious, like, ooh, this kind of piques my interest. I want to practice this, which is the next thing I want to share with you really quickly. Like how, like why you're doing this, and like how and when to do it, how and when to practice this. So, I mean, basically how this can help your pelvic floor and help decrease your pelvic symptoms is that it moves the energy. It moves the stuck energy. It moves the stagnant energy. It brings safety into your system where you're really understanding that in this now moment, I am safe. I am okay. Things may not be perfect, but I'm okay. And it allows your nervous system bodyguard to help relax so that your pelvic floor muscles can ultimately work better. So ultimately, typically, so they can kind of unclench and unfurl and unwind. So that's why and how this works. When to practice is a really important thing to address quickly. So when to practice is ultimately actually when you're feeling pretty good. So it's not necessarily the best time to practice this when you're at the height of arousal, when you're at the height of feeling bad. Typically, when we're at the height, we don't even want to use our tools. When we're just getting started with these things, we need practice so that these tools become natural and easy for us. We typically need to practice when we're either just feeling pretty good and just kind of practice just to practice, or when we're in a situation that's a little bit activating or a little bit stressful, but maybe not the most stressful. Because again, when we're at the most stressful, that's a rough time to pull out a brand new tool that you're not really familiar with. So practice this when you're feeling pretty good or just a little bit aroused, and it'll be easier and easier for you. So from here, from that state, you're learning. You're learning, and ultimately you're going to retain this information better when you're practicing in a more calm state, right? Not quite so hyper aroused. You're going to retain it better, and you're going to be more motivated to keep practicing it. And it's ultimately going to snowball. It's going to help you make better decisions. It's going to help your nervous system be more regulated. It's going to help you make positive changes in your life. And this is truly where it begins, because changing your relationship with your symptoms is the key. Changing your relationship with your pelvic symptoms is the absolute key to pelvic floor health for life, because we all have this ability inside of us to know what to do and to know we're okay, but it's often hidden and clouded by the anxiety and fear. But when we change our relationship with our body, when we become more practiced with dropping in, we have less fear. We have less fear. We have more of an internal locus of control. We're not always looking at the outside. We know we've got this. And that's everything. And it helps your pelvic floor. It helps everything. It literally helps you feel masterful over your body and your health and your life. Even if things aren't perfect, it helps you understand that you do have some control, really amazing stuff. So that's it.